My name is Dr. Jackie Evans Phillips. Originally, I'm from the island of St. Lucia, located in the Caribbean. I came to the United States at the age of 17 after graduating high school.
My name is Steve Phillips, and I was born in Jamaica. I was 9 going on 10 when I came to the United States. In Jamaica, I lived with my mother and my cousin. She lived with us as well. Um, Day to day, I would take the bus. Then after school, sometimes we were adventurous enough to walk home. Other times, we would take, public bus, public minivans back to our homes.
So, my life was a typical teenager life. Typical in the sense that it was centered around high school. I just graduated high school. In St. Lucia, you go up to Form 5. I went to an all-girls school, so I had a couple of girlfriends. We call ourselves the Diamonds. And as the Diamonds, we were originals. Going to church was a very important part in our life, where prayer was very fundamental. And my adopted grandmother went to church like twice a day, and we had no choice but to go, always praying. And sometimes those seeds of greatness are planted within us, and it's manifest in our life right now. My adopted grandmother always wanted something big for me, and she was the principal of a high school in St. Lucia. She wanted to provide me the opportunity of going out of St. Lucia to seek higher education. Education has always been fundamental in our lives, and it's amazing how you see that has been passed down within me as well. And so she had a desire and a dream that upon graduation I would leave the country and get a better opportunity for myself.
The year before I came, my grandmother passed away, and after her passing, my mother's sister decided that it would be a good time now for her sister to come and stay in America with her. So that's when we migrated. As a child, when you thought of America, you just thought of this place where, everything was there, Literally, there's just the land of opportunities, toys, all the toys that you were dreaming about as a kid, this is where they were made. So when I came with my mother. So it was just the two of us that came.
So can you recall the day, like step by step, of you like leaving Jamaica here to the airport when you came back, and then your first feelings of stepping out into Massachusetts?
We took a plane. It was an interesting trip. The one thing that comes to mind is that so there's no direct flight from Jamaica to Massachusetts. So we initially stopped in Miami, and I remember making a comment to my mother, wow, they said America was cold. It's not really that bad. Mind you, this was January. So, and then I really didn't have the right concept when it comes to cold anyway, because, I had this little thin jacket on, and I thought that was enough to handle any kind of cold weather that would come my way. And I do recall my uncle and my aunt coming to greet us, and they brought a big jacket. I was like, wow.
I remember the morning my mother brought me to the airport. I had to say goodbye to Miss James. That was very, very bittersweet. And why are you thinking that, Angelique? Thinking about it, I guess I've never talked about those emotions. And I guess you don't value people until they actually leave you. I got on that plane and, yes, I was excited to come to America. But I'll never forget when that plane just started going up. And the island started getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And it's like, you're excited, but you're not sure exactly what you're getting yourself into. I mean, yes, look at where I am now. I'm happy. I have a wonderful family. I'm thankful. I'm blessed. But it's amazing when you go through that stage and you you don't know exactly what God has in store for you. So I came to this country December 23rd, 1989. And I mean, going through immigration and everything was a blur, but it was stepping out of the airport. It was winter time. And I was like, what is this? It was actually snowing that day. And you know, one of the memories I have, and I in thinking about it, was that we lived in Hartford, and most of the houses are designed, the 3-family homes are designed the same way, and everything looked the same. There was no distinct color or shape. In the Caribbean, it's tropical, and there's a distinct design, a distinct shape, but everything looked just so colonial and just the same. And I was like, why are all the houses the same color? And just
At that time, when I came to America, there weren't that many Jamaicans in the school system, so I definitely stood out a bit. As an immigrant, you know, I was just different, and I was different to everybody. You know, so even black people saw me as like really not one of them at that time. You know, who is this guy? Why does it sound like this? You know,
where blacks are the majority in a country, I was only exposed to classism. I remember my adopted grandmother, Miss James, would always say, you know, don't get distracted by those girls with the curly hair. And I guess she was referring to maybe the Dogler kids or the kids who are half black, half white. Coming to this country, I was exposed to racism. But even the interesting part, too, is that Black Americans would humor us a little bit in terms of the fact that how we would come into America and take all their homes.
I definitely did not feel like an African American, not because I didn't want to feel like an African American, but at that time, African Americans would let me know that I'm not down with them, where, you know, you're from somewhere else, you're not with us, you know. That kind of division doesn't really exist today, but in the early 80s there was definitely a division between African Americans and everybody else, you know what I'm saying? I was told that I wasn't black, and I was like, oh, what? I'm not black. As dark as I am. Cut that out. Cut that out.
Okay, now I just need some.
So cut that out. You gotta cut that out.